Hi, welcome back to West Coast Geeks. I'm your host, Joaquin. How we doing, people? Today's video, the top 5 Cleric Cantrips for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons for first level. And to help me out with this discussion is my boy Greg.
Hey everyone.
Everyone indeed. Okay, so, like I said, this is for first level. Just to make some clarifications. You only get 3 cantrips for a cleric. It is not you get to every day change your cantrips. That would be kind of cool for every long rest. You're like, I need these. But no, you're like everybody else. It only applies for your first level spells. So we can't do a top 10 list because between the player's handbook and Xanatar's guide to everything, I think it's like 9 spells. So, I'm not putting the top 9 spells. So really, we got it down to the top 5. So here we go, people. If you're new to the channel, hello, and hopefully you'll enjoy the show so much that you will subscribe. All right, let's do this, people. Number 5 is guidance. So casting time and action, range, touch, components, verbal. What's the S stand for again?
Dramatic.
Schematics.
Some
Yeah. And then
SO. Dramatic.
concentration, divination, and damage effect is a buff. You touch a one willing creature. Once before the spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add a number rolled to their ability check of its choice. It can roll the dice before or after making the ability check. The spell then ends. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, having an extra. I mean, a D4 isn't very much, but it's also only a cantrip. But it can definitely help people make, you know, good chance rolls, like 70% chance rolls into 80% chance rolls or something like that. It's good,
Plus, you can
especially
do it after
early
the
on.
ability check, too.
Yeah, so you don't have to use it right away.
Yeah. I mean, not that it matters, it's a cantrip. Yeah, it's a. You only get 3. This is definitely one of the top spells to pick for your 3, especially at first level. There's, there's so many ability checks that you're just gonna make throughout the entire game while you're playing. So you're not gonna go wrong taking guidance. So moving on to number 4, light. You touch an object that is no longer 10 feet in any dimension until the spell ends. The object sheds bright light in a 20-foot radius and dim light for another 20 feet. The light can be colored as you like. I always forget about that part. Completely covering the object with something opaque blocks the light. The spell ends if you cast it again or dismisses an action. If you target an object held or worn by a hostile creature, that creature must succeed on dexterity saving throw to avoid the spell, which I think is funny. Like if something starts like running away from you at night, and you're like, "Well, I'm just gonna light them up
Yeah,
so we could chase after them."
yeah, yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, I did not know. I think I did know, but I just forgot. Um, that the fact that you can change colors, so you don't have to make it this bright light. And second, you don't. If you run out of oil flask for your lantern, you can just cast it on the a rock or something in the lantern, and now you just have your shutters.
Why are you bringing a lantern if you have light?
No,
I mean, that's the whole point of having the magic lights is that you don't need all the torches and lamps and
yeah,
other
they really
stuff.
did. They really did take a lot of that stuff out. Uh, you can cast it on your sword. You can cast it whatever. You can cast it on stone. There's so many things you can do with it.
Yeah,
It's a great utility spell to have.
two people in your party should have a light effect,
Yeah,
like like this, or and if it's not someone else, then it's you, and you should take this.
exactly. Especially if you're the cleric, because the wizard, they have all kinds of different cantrips. So
No,
to ask
wizards.
them to take a light source, you know,
No, the
yeah,
wizard should be the first one to take.
you know, leave it to the cleric or something. Let's the mage insist upon taking dancing light, which is good. All right. Now this is going to be a quick video because we're only talking about 5 people. All right, number 3 is Sacred Flame. Um, you're going to want at least one combat spell that does damage, and Sacred Flame has a range of like 60 feet. Does radiant damage. It flame-like radiance descends upon a creature that you see within range. The target must succeed on a dexterity save or take 1d8 radiant damage. The target gains no benefit for cover for this saving throw. Pretty cool. And
Yeah.
then, like all other spell damages, it's 1d8 when you.
Why would it get benefit from cover?
Um, the target gains for this saving throw. Because it's an attack spell.
But it's not a to hit spell. You got. I might have to go back and look at the rules about cover. I thought if it was a saving throw, you just
The target must
get
succeed
saving
on a
throw.
dex saving throw. You know why they wrote this? Because you get some rules lawyer saying it's a ranged attack, and but I don't know. That's weird because, like you said, you don't get a cover save for deck saves. But who knows? You know that they had to put that in there because there was somebody who would be arguing about it. But at 5th level, does 2d8, 11th level, 3d8, and at 17th level is 48. But at 17th level, you can have way more better spells than this. But for something that you can just do every turn, it's not bad.
I mean,
Uh,
there's better option here, which we'll get to later, but it's definitely more thematic than the next one we're getting to.
yeah, well, it's got more range. I mean, that alone is nice. Anytime you can take a range cantrip spell.
Um, I don't think it has more range. Yeah, it doesn't have more range.
Now,
Has
all
the
right,
same range.
number 2, it does. Toll of the Dead.
Yeah,
So, you
I
point
thought
at
we were at
one creature. What?
we're at number two, right?
Yep, number 2.
So this is number two.
This is number 2.
This is number one.
This is number 2. We'll get into that in a second. Let me
This
read
is
this
number
out.
one on my list.
Number 1 on Greg's list. So, number 2, Toll of the Dead, 60 feet. You point at a creature you can see within range, and the sound of the what was that? Dolorous bell fills the air around it for a moment. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, take 1d8 necrotic damage. If the target is missing any of its hit points, it takes 1d12, and of course it stacks as it goes up. I mean, at 5th level, it's actually really good. 2d6 or 2d12.
Oh yeah.
5th level, you're really gonna do some damage with this spell. All right, Greg. So,
But why is this
before we
better?
get into this debate of the number 1, number 2, and what do you think of number 1, let's just stay with Toll of the Dead for a second.
There's, there's multiple reasons why it's better
Yes.
than the what would be it, Sacred Flame.
Mm-hmm.
One, it can do more damage if the creature's already injured.
Yep.
Otherwise, it does the same damage. It what was the other thing? Oh, what? I just had lost my thought. Damn it.
Yeah, but it also does necrotic damage, which is nice because
Yeah, well, radiant damage is actually better. Oh, yeah, the other thing is that it goes off a wisdom save, which is the least likely for a creature to have for a monster in the monster manual to have a save effect of good save effect.
yeah,
Whereas a deck save on the other one is, most things have a reasonably good deck save.
yeah, they're usually, if they're not going to have a +1, they're going to have a 0. Only certain big creatures will have a negative deck save. Um, and yeah, with wisdom saves, it's pretty good. Yeah, all around. I mean, I'm glad they also made this a cleric cantrip. I mean, actually, they should have just kept this as a cleric cantrip and not made it a mage cantrip.
Now,
Uh,
the thing is that it's kind of, for a lot of clerics, it's kind of anti-thematic, right?
yeah,
Clerics kind of known as the healing class, and you're pulling the dead with necromancy spells.
yeah. It's kind of like one of those things where fifth edition they made so open to let everybody do anything. Where
Yeah.
in previous editions, unless you had access to necromancy, I don't think I don't know if you could actually cast it.
Mm,
Can't see.
no,
I
you
can't
could.
remember if it was ever that extreme, but
You had to be of a alignment that would let you do it, I believe.
yeah, I think these were like forbidden type spells. Or I'm thinking like second edition, when they really had the schools and they had the opposition schools, and there was something about the opposition schools you couldn't take spells or learn spells. I don't know. I'd have to go back down memory lane and really look at that. But I know there was some restrictions. But fifth edition is pretty much do whatever you want, play whatever you want. You want to be a Minotaur character? Cool. You want to play a
Just let me
vampire?
be a minotaur.
Yeah. And Craig's like, I wish you would let me be a Minotaur. It's like one of those things. Like they've already introduced vampires in Van Richten's guide. You're a half vampire. Basically, you're Blade, just not as badass.
Don't get the sunglasses.
No, they didn't have sunglasses back then.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you're not as badass. You don't have the
You
sunglasses.
don't. And you don't get to say cool lines like there's always some stupid motherfucker trying to ice skate up a hill.
You can do that.
Yeah, you can. Man. As a DM, I'd be like, "What is ice skating?" You and your damn sandwiches. I know we're a little bit off, but this group, yeah, you Greg and Michael, they're like, "We like to make sandwiches." I was like, "Get the hell out of here!" Oh yeah, you weren't part of that. It was Michael and Michael and the other Michael and his girlfriend Amy who insist upon making sandwiches.
Why don't
So
you want sandwiches?
I don't know. They just did. They're like, "Well, let's order a sandwich," and I was like, "There's no sandwiches."
I mean,
They're
some
like, "Well, then we
sandwiches.
want to order a loaf of bread. We're gonna cut it in half, and then we're gonna stick vegetables and meat in it and call it a sandwich." I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, "You wouldn't have called it a sandwich because you wouldn't know about the word sandwich." All right, people, stalled long enough. So here we go into this debate. Number one, spare the dying. It's a
Number
touch.
number
It
8. Yeah.
num- Now number one. You touch a living creature to 0 hit points. The creature becomes stable. This spell has zero effect on undead or construct. So go ahead, Greg. First with the counterpoint.
Um. I mean, this can be useful. This is I mean, this can be the best spell at certain times, but also it's oftentimes the worst thing you could be doing. I mean, it's good for like after combat is over and you're healing people up and the threat's gone away, but if the threat's still around, it's usually not the best thing you should be doing, in my opinion. You're a cleric, you have healing spells, do one of those, find an item that causes healing, get the person away from, get the person away from, get the, from the danger
Yeah,
so that they're not getting critical hits taken at them. Get them, don't let, you don't want them to be still like unconscious, like stable but unconscious.
yeah. But if you're out of healing spells at that moment and you used up all your potions, this is the best way to be keeping
Then
people from
buy
dying.
then buy a healing kit and have room for another cantrip.
Healing kit does not heal anymore like it used to. We went over
What?
that last game. Greg's in my current campaign, and he missed last session because it was his birthday, his father's birthday. Happy birthday to Greg's dad, belated. Um, so somebody goes, "Well, I got a healing kit," and then we're like, "That only takes you to 0, makes you stable."
It's the same thing as this,
It is.
but that's just something you carry around, and this is a cantrip slot, and you only get 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
So
Greg is right
so
about that. You
so
can
bu
go and buy that
yeah,
kit.
and then take a light spell or something,
Yeah, you can use some other shenanigans.
because you should be doing healing spells here. 'Cause that's what will actually help, whereas doing this isn't actually gonna help you in combat. you're gonna just be kind of wasting your action. I mean, yeah, usually there'll be better things for you to do to help the party out than
Yeah,
this,
so
in
the
my
healer's
opinion.
kit has 10 uses, and you need to make a wisdom medicine check. So is there is a
Well,
chance that you can fail it.
guess what class has a good wisdom score? The cleric,
Mm, just saying. Just
or should
saying.
have a good wisdom score.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
And then
assuming that
take proficiency healing, and you'll get like, what, +4 or something to your
I'm
rolls or something.
assuming that the DM's not going to be crazy with the like. For me, I would just set it as a 10. You got a 50-50 chance plus your modifier. And Greg is right. So the average cleric score for wisdom should be your highest. And let's just say the average is at least 12 to 15. So you should
Oh, you
either have
rolled
a plus
terribly.
one or a plus two.
You rolled terribly.
Greg.
It'll be +3. You take proficiency in the healing, and you'll get like +6 or 7.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you can go that route, and then let's just see how much a healing kit costs. Costs 5 gold pieces, so he's right. But as a DM, I would also be making sure that they keep track of all that stuff. So, you know, yeah, that I mean, Greg makes a valid point. Do you really need to take this? No, you got the healing kit. You can't. You don't even have to specialize in healing. But you probably should because you're a cleric, and you'll be
that's
okay with that. But if you fail it, and that person's on their last death save, and then they fail, everybody's gonna be
just
looking at you.
just don't just say you're not that kind of cleric. I don't heal people. I just throw around death spells. That's the kind of cleric I am.
All right, with that, people, we're gonna end it on there. I hope you found this video entertaining. And if you made it this far, obviously you have. So, hit the like button, help support the channel. Uh, and also subscribe too. Leave a comment below. If there is a spell, there's not that many cleric spells. So, mending was really on the fence about making the list, but you don't really mend that many things in gameplay. I
Unless
know
you want to
people like
break
to
a lot of
say they
things.
do, but
You can break lots of things and then start mending them.
yeah,
So you have to pay for it.
yeah. That was that, people. We'll catch you next video. Greg, your sign
What?
off. I said we're gonna
Oh,
catch you next video.
see you next video.
Damn it, Greg. You're supposed to say just bye.
Bye until next video.